Hello Magic fans, I'm Beef and welcome back to another standard gameplay video, and today we are playing a really fun deck revolving around I say an old favourite. I did try to get it work, drew it back when it was released in Bloomburrow, which is Rottenmouth Vider. What is the Viper? It's a 6 mana 6/6, so very beefy, and basically it says when it enters or attacks, put a blight counter on it, then for each blight counter on it, each opponent loses 4 life unless they sack a non-land permanent of their choice or discard a card. So its flaw is it comes down and they've got to make that decision once, and then when it attacks they have to make that decision twice, and if they attack again 3 times and so on. And it also has additional upside of when you cast it you may sacrifice any number of non-land permanents, and the spell costs 1 generic less to cast for each permanent sacrifice its way. So if we can sacrifice 5 permanents we can play it for just 1 black. Now I did try to get it to work, and actually we've not got a huge amount of new cards in the deck, so not much has changed. But this deck is one of those decks, if you ever built a deck where it shouldn't work as well as it does, but it does, and maybe you've just gone through a run of good form or good matches, but this deck is hilarious, and you can see I've called it Turbo Snake, because we just have a huge amount of 1-drops designed to get the Viper out. And back when it came out, one of the problems was kind of resilience. You see it in Brawl / Commander a lot, is if a player ramps out their commander using a ritual spell, like for example Dark Ritual. You know, Dark Ritual can let you cast your commander 2 turns out of schedule sometimes. If that commander is then removed, you are so far behind because you have command attacks, plus you didn't have the original mana to begin with because of the ritual. Vipers in a similar vein of, because you sacrifice a lot of non-land permanents, basically you wipe your own board to get the Viper down. If your opponent removes it, then you're in trouble basically, because you now suddenly don't have a board at all, and even if you have another Viper in hand or they bounce the Viper, then you're probably not in a position to be able to recast it straight away. And this deck goes towards some ways to solve that, but not necessarily it can never be solved completely. So let's go through all our 1-drops, and every single card in our hand, in our deck apart from 4 and the lands, are 1-drops. So we have Corrupted Conviction, a card from Outlaw's Thunder Junction. 1 mana for an instant. As an initial cost to cast a spell, sack a creature, draw 2 cards. Now this is just Village Rites. I don't know why they didn't reprint Village Rites, but it is sack a creature, draw 2 cards. Desperate Measures is one of 2 new cards from Tarkir, and it's very similar to Corrupted Conviction, but instead of sacking a creature, you give a creature +1/-1 until the end of turn, and if it dies under our control, we draw 2 cards. So we've seen this in the Mobilise deck, and we are playing Stadium Headliner as a Mobilise card. 1 mana 1/1 Mobilise 1, which means when it attacks, it creates a 1/1 attacking warrior creature token, and then we sack that warrior at end of step. It does have additional stuff, but we're not really interested in that. So if we get a headline down turn 1, attack, get that warrior, do damage, and then we can Desperate Measures that warrior to give it +1/-1, which will kill it, and we draw 2 cards. Next we have Grim Bauble. When it enters, target opponent creature an opponent controls gets -2/-2 to end of turn. So it is removal, and it sticks around, so it means we can sacrifice it to the Viper. Then Hopeless Nightmare, everyone's favourite. 1 mana, when it enters, each opponent discards a card, loses 2 life. And then, unlike the Bauble, so the Bauble has you pay to and sack it, it's a vow to. Hopeless Nightmare has pay to and sack it, but it's worded slightly different of when it's put into the graveyard of the battlefield, scry 2. So if we sack it to the Viper, we still get that scry 2. Unlike the Bauble, we won't get the vow to if we sack it to the Viper, but that's kind of here nor there. Infestation Stage, 1 mana 1/1 from Foundations, and when it dies, create a 1/1 black and green insect creature token with flying. So this is a bit of that resilience. If we sack an Infestation Stage to the Viper, we do get insect token back, and also it's a good target to sack with Corrupted Conviction or Desperate Measures, because we still get a 1/1 which we can then later sack to the Viper. Then 4 copies of Scavenger Talent, and for me this is the best card in the deck, and obviously it was around in Bloomburrow as well because it's from Bloomburrow, but it's first level. When 1 or more creatures you control die, create a food token. This ability triggers only once each turn, so again with our Mobilise token, or if we sack something, we get a food token which increases the count of non-land permanents, meaning it makes it easier to get out of the Viper. Then we can pay 2 to level it up to level 2, and then when we sack a permanent, target player mills 2 cards. Now we may want to mill our opponent, or we may want to mill ourselves, because while we're not a graveyard deck, The third level of Scavenge Talent, which costs 3 to get to, says at the beginning of our end step we may sack 3 other non-land permanents. When we do, return a creature card from our graveyard to the battlefield with a finality counter on it. Finality counter means when it leaves play, we exile it instead. Sorry, if it goes in a battlefield, a graveyard from the battlefield, we exile it instead. And obviously our deck is built around getting non-land permanents. So this is our recursion. One of the issues with the Viper is you play the Viper, they lose 4, or they discard a card, or they sack a 1/1 or whatever, then they remove your Viper and suddenly you're in trouble. But with a 3 level up talent, if we have 3 food lying around, or a food and some 1/1s, we can sack those, or even another scavenger talent. We can't sacrifice the scavenger talent, but we can sacrifice another one. Then we can get the Viper back. Yes, we have a finality counter on it, but also if we've milled a Viper into our graveyard from the second ability, because we are going to be sacrificing a lot of cards, then again we can get something back and get that value again. Then 4 copies of Spiteful Hexmage, a 1 mana 3/2, which is obviously very, very powerful. But when it enters, we create a Curse Roll token attached to target creature we control. Curse Roll basically makes entire creature base power 1/1. But we have a lot of 1/1s anyway. Infestation Sage, Sadum Headliner are great cards to put the Curse Roll on, because it doesn't make a difference to them, and we are left with a 3/2. And obviously we can sacrifice the Curse Roll to the Viper as well. Headliner we've already spoke about, and then we do have 1 copy of Lava Spur Boots. Equip creature gets +1/+0, it has Ward 1 and Equip 1. It is hilarious if we can get the Viper down and give it haste in the same turn, so we get basically 3 triggers. The 1 trigger when it enters, and then the 2 triggers when it attacks. And also it is something else we can sacrifice. And our only other card is 4 copies that go for the throat for additional removal, which is usually up against something like the Demon's deck, where they just want to get away, a blocker out of the way so we can attack in. Because attacking with the Viper means they can either make a decision to potentially lose 4 or 8 life, discard 2 cards, sack 2 creatures, or anywhere in the middle, while getting hit by a 6/6 snake. So lands, we only have 20 lands. Sometimes I feel like we can go lower. In one of the games you'll see we ended up having 9 lands on the battlefield. We seriously flooded out. Also, I think you could probably cut down some of the Corrupted Conviction Desperate Measures and get more 1/1 creatures in, because the reality is we only actually have 12 1/1 creatures. You'll probably go up to 16, and maybe cut the Desperate Measures. Probably Corrupted Conviction. Desperate Measures can be used as removal if you need to against 1/1s. But this deck is really, really fun. It's really, really fast. It's not quite aggro, but you can get a Viper down on turn 3, and against certain matchups they can't remove it. It does suck against this talent big enough though, but everything sucks against this talent big enough. So that's the deck. Really, really hope you enjoy it. So I have recently launched a Patreon, and if you're seeing this in early access on Patreon, it means you already know about Patreon because you are a Patreon member. So I would just like to give a shout out to currently my 2 Planeswalker level subscribers. They are Meow and Arcadius. Thank you very much for supporting the channel and believing in me, and hoping I can do well. So this one's for you. Hopefully you are the first of many, many Patreons going forward. But really hope you like the deck. If you do, please remember to like and subscribe and look at the Patreon, and I'll see you all in the gameplay. We go first, and we're pretty much guaranteed a 1-drop, a turn 1 play. We'll play out Hexmage. And we'll swing in. And let's draw by sacking our little token. Now we're basically just looking for a snake. Iron up our headliner. There we go. Well, it's Nightmare. Go him to discard. Let's put it on. And then we hold up, cut down just in case. Okay, Preacher's not great. But we need a snake. Let's attack him with our 4-2. We do create a food. And let's attach the boots to our other Hex Mage. Deep Cavern back to take the cut down. Well, let's just level up. And let's level up again. We won't attack, but we will sacrifice various things. The Curse Roll, the food, and Hopeless Nightmare. Get him to mill some. Oh, they have got the Rock Curse Rakshasa. Well, we'll keep that. Let's sack Hex Mage. Yeah, they give us back our cut down. No. Is that sack 3? Yes, other non-lands. We can't sack the talent. Oh, he didn't give us back our cut down. There's 2 triggers. They're down at 5. We get Viper back. This is going to be a very tight game. Basically, do they draw what's required? Well, they could turn on the sanctuary. But I don't think they've got to do it twice, basically. I suppose they could sack both. They could activate their sanctuary. I know, non-land permanent. It still counts as a land. So they couldn't... Yeah. Our opponent goes first. Well, we've got a Viper and we have a lot of things to potentially sacrifice. Let's see what our opponent's up to. Just as the Vow land. Well, I think we get down the talent. That way, when we sack our creature, we create a food. Unholy Annex. Well, let's attack in. Let's go and discard. Yeah, we can't. Corrupted Conviction. But next turn, we can get out the Viper. Right, let's get down the Hex Mage. Put the Curse Roll on the Sage. And then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Well, they're going to have demons, so I think we keep that. What do they do? I'm guessing they discard. So just a land. Well, let us level up. Yeah, and let's attack in. Do they discard their hand? They do. And let's sack the Sage. They seem to be a graveyard deck, so maybe we don't want to do that, but never mind. And then, if they remove the Viper, we can level up our talent and basically just get it back. That doesn't do it. yeah, our opponent scoops, we hit him for 7. And yeah, we can level up the talent, and then if they do remove the Viper, we can just reanimate it by sacking our insect and our 2 food. We go first with a pretty good hand. Would love to be able to get down a Viper and put the boots on it. We will draw. Let's get down the Sage. We can potentially get a Viper out next turn. Wow. Just what I think we do. Oh, they might be on a Dragon's deck. Well, not might be. Looks like they are. They are about to take a hit. And yeah, our opponent scoops. We hit him for 7, down to 8, and they have to basically discard 2 cards. And then next turn, we could actually get down another Viper without sacking our first Viper. We don't have red for the headliner, but we can Infestation Sage. Get down a talent. And I'm just going to hold up Corrupted Conviction in case I have some kind of exile. Since we still get insect token. And then let's put the token on, let's just say, the bug. If we draw, our snake will be in a very good position. Ooh, dragons. Well, let's level up. Let's sack our token. We can mill ourselves. Why did they do that? Oh, technically it wasn't a sacrifice, was it? I don't know why they tapped the demo field. Let's sack our Infestation Sage, which will let us mill 2. There is the big snake. Well, let's attack in. We'll level up. Now they're going to take out. When we have a swamp anyway. Wait, why? What? Oh, it does from the level up. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. We only need to do 5. There's another snake in our graveyard. I am not going to get our snake back in case of a board sweeper. But yeah, our opponent scoops. If they did have a sweeper, we would get a food from one of our creatures dying. Well, in this had a sunfall. So then we would have 3 permanents, and even with an Infestation Stage, we'd definitely have it. And there is obviously a second snake in the graveyard, ready to be brought back. They do have a full hand, so it wouldn't be lethal or anything. But yeah, obviously they didn't have removal. Oh, so this hand actually isn't great. We don't have any 1-drop creatures. This is better. You don't need to keep all that land. We'll put back a mountain. Well, we'll play out a sage. Don't see Seep plus Fairy at all. There is technically a combo, but it's hard to put together with like Marvin, the Murderous Mimic, and Agatha Soul Cauldron and things like that. Let's attack in. And we'll just hold up Desperate Measures. Try and find our big snake. Do you have interaction? Or a counter spell? Or something that doesn't just waste everyone's time? Yeah, so we don't draw. But we have hit our big snake. seeing as they clearly have interaction. Now the stick could just be for Sleep Curse Fairy, but it is obvious that they do have a counterspell. And they obviously are a fairy deck. What do they get back? They are tapped out. I'm going to go for the throat. Well, let's swing out. Now we know they have interaction, so this may not just be the end, but they do only have 2 cards left, which they've kept them both. But yeah, they've scooped. When they keep, like, when they're at 8 and they keep 2 cards in their hand, the assumption is they have interaction. Now maybe they're hoping to draw into it, but what were the 2 cards that they were so keen on keeping? They'd rather go down to 4 than discard 1. Well, we have a Headliner, we have a Hopeless Nightmare, we have a Rottenmouth Viper. Now, it is possible to get Viper out turn 3, maybe not with this hand. We could Desperate Measures their Land and White Elves. Maybe we should have done that to begin with. Yeah, that doesn't do it now though. Swing out. Good. And we will, let's Corrupted Conviction, just because Desperate Measures can be used as removal. Next time we can get right. Now, I don't think they'll block. They do not. We will Desperate Measures the token which gets us a food and draws us 2. And then, oh, we are 1 short. That's a bit of a whiff on my part. But obviously the next turn we should be alright. Mate, well, I could have done it by sacking the talent, but I want the talent hang around. We probably block the Hydra with the Hex Mage. but they do double land drop. I know it's only, we only say 2 from 7, but it's probably worth it. Well, let's get down another talent. And let's attack him with the headliner. One, two, three, four, 5. Yeah, this should be fine. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Let's mill our opponent. Well, we'll keep the sage. Question is, if I have a land, we are actually just dead. Yeah. Could have played this one better. Yeah. Hello Magic fans and welcome back to a very quick wrap up. So as I said in my deck tech, this deck is very fast and explosive. Or at least it can be. Obviously it is reliant on having Rottenmouth Vider, and sometimes you just have those games where you do not draw it, even with all the corrupted convictions and desperate measures, or you know, your opponent wipes your board or temporary lockdowns and moving all your small things. As I said, also said in the deck tech, I do think if I was building this deck again, I would cut down on probably 2 of each maybe, to put in maybe more 1-drop creatures, because sometimes you do have where the times are actually, even though we have 12 1-drops, sometimes it just doesn't, you just don't hit them. And while Spiteful Hexmate is a 1-drop, ideally you want it on turn 2+, because if you play Spiteful Hexmate on turn 1, you've got to put a counter on itself, which one means you're doing less damage, but also it means if you do want to Corrupted Conviction or Desperate Measures, you're taking away 2 permanents for Viper as opposed to just 1. Whereas obviously if you headliner Hexmage onto the headliner, then you can attack and still have the token you can sack. So that's kind of like small tweaks I would change, but it's really, really fun. It's one of those decks I did not think would be as good as it is. I do think when I first started playing it, before I recorded the deck tech, I had a string of lucky matches, or you know, good matchups. I have had a few string of bad ones since then, so it kind of evens out in the end. But Rottenmouth Vider is a very powerful card if it can, you know, land and stick around, but it's quite hard to do that. But anyway, that's a deck. Before I go, I would like to give a quick shout out to one of my patrons. That is Tom. He is a member of the creature tier, so thank you, Tom, for your support. It is muchly appreciated, and you know, I hope you carry on supporting me as I grow the channel. But in the meantime, I'll see you all in the next video.